In the big Bilge tank.
We'll keep you in the know.
In the big Bilge tank.
We'll fix your techie woes, and we'll break things and we'll make things till we're all together raking, and
We'll raise a cup of grog down in the big Bilge tank. In the big Bilge tank. Come and join our pirate crew. In the big Bilge tank.
We will show you what to do.
And we'll hack it till we crack it.
and we'll tell the world about it and forget to tidy up.
That's why it's now a Bilge tank.
Hello and welcome to episode 028 of the Bilge Tank from Sheffield-on-Sea.
Hi.
Hi. As you can see, Paul is back from the big launch event, Pi 3, and we've lost Phil in the meantime. He's been with us for, 18 months now, and obviously he's got cosy and decided to take a holiday.
Yeah,
What's
he's
with that?
hiding in Budapest or something.
Something like. I saw him earlier on Twitter wearing a t-shirt adorned with fish, tropical fish, very impressive.
Yeah.
Definitely
It doesn't matter what
holiday
disguise
mode.
is, he does. We will find him, even in Budapest.
We'll hunt him down.
We have a very particular set of skills.
So we thought we'd talk about the hot topic at the moment, which is the heat of the Raspberry Pi 3, because it is hot, and hot in a good sense. But we've set up a thermal camera here, and we've got some heat sinks, and we're generally going to talk about heat sinks and stuff related to that, and then we've got a few new products, and just generally interesting shenanigans.
Shenanigans, indeed. Yeah. So on the close-up cam here, we've got a Raspberry Pi there. In front of it, we've got my Android phone with a thermal camera.
Here's my
pointing
coffee
at it.
for reference.
That's it.
There we go.
Whoa.
Oh,
45 degrees on the outside of the cup.
That's it. Toasty.
Yeah. And at the moment, the hottest thing in the view of that camera is the Pi at about 28 degrees C, which is nothing. You can put your finger on the heatsink there, can't you, John?
Yep.
No problem whatsoever. So we're going to try and stress that at some point.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Fancy.
you put Phil's hand in front of that and he's blue.
Oh, he'd be just
He's
ice
got no
block.
heat, yeah.
I know. He's
I don't know whether
incredible.
it's Reynolds or something, but there's no circulation there.
Shall we bring the close-up full screen for a moment? Just
we
have a
can do
look at that.
Yeah.
Because we can show the scale on the actual Seek thermal.
Yeah.
Oh, where's the
What's
scale
there?
bar? I thought we put like a scale bar at the side normally.
Oh, no, that's with that's Gareth Hafficree's one. He's got like a Fleur, which is like a 500 quid unit or something.
Oh,
It's
right.
way
We don't
more
talk
advanced.
about that though, do we?
No,
We don't talk about
what we've
that.
got here is, I think I got this for $200 on eBay before they were selling in the UK.
So what we've got is the centre point is what's being sampled. It's not actually showing the hotspot at the moment, correct?
Ooh, yeah. No,
So-
we can change it so it does them in the max. If
So
you
how
want.
do I do that?
Okay, you see the temperature bar top right?
Yep,
Click that. And next one up,
that one.
that one.
Brilliant.
There
That's
you
probably
go.
more useful for us, isn't it?
Hey, that's more like it.
So this will now track the hottest point in view. I can never work this out.
Well,
Let's try
your
it that
coffee's the
way.
hottest thing in view.
No, I'm going to move my coffee. I mean, I can never position things in front of the camera. It just drives me nuts. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah.
Lift a nice warm patch on the table. We'll get that out of the way. So this will now constantly kind of track the hottest point on the Pi, which is currently 36 degrees on the top of the heatsink. And we can run some stress tests on this.
Yep.
Can I just bring that up?
Yeah,
You actually see the screen.
Uh-huh. So I think we need to install Sysbench is a good one. So I'm gonna show what you're typing there on the little screen. There we go.
Typing on tiny keyboard here.
Man, you can hardly see that. Sudo apt-get install.
Edge.
I think you're gonna need an install there, mate.
I'm going to need a network cable as well, because I don't think we've got Wi-Fi set up on this. Let's plug that in.
We're really using the power of the Pi 3 here. Yeah.
No, this is just one that you've grabbed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sudo apt-get install Sysbench.
Okay.
Let me see if I can zoom that in a bit, just so people can actually see what you're typing. There we go, man. Cool.
Brilliant.
Oh, hot.
Ooh,
Oh, it's got really big now. Never mind.
it's not too bad.
I can't stop myself for a crop. No, not that. There we go. That's more reasonable. There. Can we read that, folks, on the internet?
I think we can. We've got someone watching from Costa Rica, Paul.
Woo!
That's pretty cool.
That's quite far away. Yeah, so what is the app? That is the Seek Thermal app to go with the Seek Thermal camera. We'll show you the setup later, but what I have is a USB adapter, USB-C adapter, and then the camera is just a USB micro on-the-go add-on. You can actually hack it to work with the Raspberry Pi but we haven't done that for a while. Anyway,
Okay.
Sysbench is installed.
So, what do you want me to run, Paul?
Okay, sysbench -test equals CPU. Space -num -threads equals 4. And I think that'll run 10,000. Try that. I clearly don't know what I'm doing.
Test name. CPU.
Yeah, test, that's fine. Yeah, my num threads might be. No, my num threads looks alright. Oh, run at the end. Just space run. Yeah, that'll run it for 10,000 cycles. So that's off there, and you should now start seeing the processor increase in temperature. I think we can actually increase the number of runs it does as well. So
the number of runs it does?
Done runs!
Those done runs. Yeah, you can see it's climbing up now.
Yeah. While that's running and while it's ramping up the temperature of the heatsink, you'll see here we've got some example heatsinks that we bought from kind of Pi Hut, ModMyPi, eBay, Amazon, all over, and they run the gamut in price and style.
Yeah.
And at some point we're going to have a proper shootout of all of those. And here, you're not really looking about what makes the Pi run coolest. You might have a concern where you want the Pi to be a bit cooler. There, it's finished running and it's barely got hotter.
I'm going to fire it off again anyway while you're talking.
Yeah. What you're looking at, while you're doing that, I'm just going to bring this up. So I feel odd when we're talking to you and you can't see us.
Yeah.
I feel it's just wrong. What you're looking at here is when the Pi's temperature inside at the temperature sensor, which is in the video core, we think, so it's a little bit cooler than the actual chip.
Which appears to be at the kind of the top edge of the chip.
Yeah.
Under the Broadcom logo, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a relationship between the temperature of that and the temperature of the CPU bits. But what happens is when that detects that the temperature is over 80 degrees, you'll now get a yellow square in the top up here on your Raspberry Pi screen.
Where you used to get the rainbow square.
Where you still get the rainbow square, in fact.
If
Yeah.
it's an undervolt condition.
So the rainbow
you get
is
yellow
undervolt, power,
over
need
10.
more power. Yellow means it's over 80 degrees and it started throttling down the CPU. There is a command to look at that, which we'll try and find out and put in the comments of the YouTube video. When it gets to 85 degrees, it goes red to say, I am really throttling. And you really shouldn't see that unless your Pi is in an oven somehow.
Sandy, can you just find us the command to get the system CPU readout?
Mm-hmm.
We're a little bit unprepared today due to Pi 3 shipping chaos.
Yeah.
But
what you're really looking at with heat sinks and when you're doing something like intense computation, 3D, Blender, whatever, calculating primes, running something pretty hefty, you're looking at the time it takes to kind of get up to that throttling temperature and how hard the throttle is. It's not really about just keeping the temperature down, it's keeping the temperature down for a bit longer. And what we've generally found is to keep even if you have a bare Pi 3 with no heatsink on it and you keep running this test again and again, after about 10 runs then the temperature will hit that yellow thermal limit eventually. So if you were running this for hours then you would need a heatsink to keep it from governing the CPU down.
And you mean, when you say running it for hours, you mean running it full beans for hours?
Oh, full
just
beans for hours, yeah.
General use is not going to matter. I mean,
Doesn't matter
for
a jot.
pretty much everything we do here, it would make no difference. It's only tasks that are really hammering the CPU, possibly the GPU as well, because we haven't really had a good go at hitting the GPU hard. But having said that, there are way fewer things where you would be hitting the GPU hard. I mean, stuff like Minecraft might be interesting.
Yeah.
Sandy has just put up the command.
Anyway, what we found is that the old Pibo, it got to that 80 degrees a lot quicker when you were running full beans, which is why we did the redesign and had that aperture, had more airflow, had the aperture. If you then add the heatsink, then it increases the time before it gets to that governing stage. And if you then added, say, a fan or water cooling, it would again potentially change that curve. So it takes 10 minutes or an hour to get to that level. But yeah, so far that has not happened.
This is in thousandths of a degree. So if we bring up the screen now, Paul, bring up the Pi screen.
Yo,
Go full
Pi
screen for a
screen.
sec. To the
That's
one,
not the
to
Pi
the right.
screen.
Yeah, there you go. So this command is basically constantly reading the value from this, basically like a system file that tells you the current temperature in what's called zone 0. It's in thousandths of a degree Celsius, which is a slightly bizarre unit, but there you go. So you can see the internal temperature sensor is currently reading it as being about 50 degrees Celsius.
Which tallies up really well with the...
With actually what we're seeing on the thermal camera, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same value.
Cool. So that's a good start. Do you want to see if you can just run that prime test forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
What I can do is if we stay on our screen, I can actually just go to another shell.
Oh man. How'd you do that, John?
Control-Alt-Number.
Control.
Unfortunately, I can't see because of your wacky zooms, so I can't actually see the login. But let's.
Oh, there you go. You're on.
Am I?
Just
There we go.
there,
Okay.
yeah.
So it was. Oh no, I won't have it in my bash history, will I? Sysbench -- test equals CPU -- num - threads equals 4 run.
There is one that says
Okay.
how long you can run it as well.
Do you know what that command is?
If you do -- help, it's one of the things there. You should be able to see it. Max-requests. -- max-requests. And you can put it up to like 100k.
So -- max - num requests.
Requests.
Not just requests.
Yeah.
Equals 10000.
So it runs for 10,000 iterations, and now it's
Okay.
running for 100,000.
So that's running. So we'll go back to our other console.
Whee!
Look. Now we can get our temperature readings. So this should start ramping up now. And we have seen it throttle. There's another one of these kind of system files that you can read the current throttling value for the CPU, as in essentially the current core frequency. And you'll see that starting to drop down.
Do you want to look at my 2-code authentication?
Unfortunately, 484848.
Really?
Yeah, really, genuinely.
Oh my word. So if anyone wants to log into my email for
Seconds.
the next 10 seconds or something, go right ahead. Yeah. I don't know, it might have been on Slack. I just don't know anymore. We've got so many communications
What are you
platforms.
looking for, fella?
The command we got from Gordon, which told us which bit.
Oh, to get the CPU frequency?
Yeah, the ARM command, yeah.
Are we going to see it throttle? We're about 70 degrees at the moment. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we keep running this. It'll eventually get there. But this is the thing. This has been running pretty hard for a while, and it's not yet throttling it. There is currently just a slightly hot heatsink there.
I'm trying to get a compared to work. I should see it. Was it CPU? Was it dev?
No, it's the VC command. I forget.
It was a video call, wasn't it?
Yeah.
VC. Was it one of those?
VC Gen command. Don't ask me which one of the VC Gen commands it is.
Yeah, not that helpful.
Yeah. Or Skype even, I just don't know anymore,
It
John.
was probably Skype.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Anyway, keep talking while I look this up.
We'll find it.
Keep them
another time.
entertained.
So there is a way that you can query the current clock frequency of the Pi. Paul is now attempting to log into Skype
Yeah.
to see if you can find that. But you'll only see it starting to throttle when it gets to about 82 degrees or so.
Yeah, I'm really surprised it hasn't got anywhere near that yet.
Yeah. It's warm in here as well.
Yeah.
It's warm in here.
Go figure. Maybe we need a way to hit it much harder.
We're at 77 degrees, so
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take a while. The one big downside to a lot of these heat sinks is that they aren't really compatible if you want to use a hat on your Pi, which is really annoying. Basically, let's just get a normal Pi and stick a heatsink onto it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just rip them off and work our way through. So this is the biggest one we found. I think this was Mod My Pi.
Yeah, they've got them in like rainbow colours and stuff.
We love the colours, but if you can't put a hat on, it's not very useful, is it? Oh, that's a nightmare to peel off.
Oh, I might have stuck something back on there, to be honest.
Yeah, that ain't going on.
God, let's have a look. Oh no, that's just that is the tape.
Is it?
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
actually have adhesive as such. It's just kind of thermal interface tape. It was mildly tacky before. Fine,
Okay.
it
All
used
right.
to work.
Anyway, you can kind of see how proud that heatsink stands off the Pi, and there's literally no chance you're going to plug anything into the GPIO with that on there. So we got a huge sample of them, but in the end we ended up getting our own ones that are only 6mm tall. So obviously the more material you've got, the better they are for cooling, but obviously we think that being able to put a hat on your Pi is quite important because it's a large part of our kind of range of products. So we figured there would definitely be a demand for a heatsink that was shallow enough to allow you to mount hats. And even hats that have got undermounted components, so like our Explorer hat, most of the components are on the underside. But with a 6mm heatsink, that's not a problem. You can install it on top and still use the hat nicely. And also in a coupe case.
Yep, so fresh off today, 6mm.
Yeah, they just arrived
flush.
today, so we'll get them on the store pretty soon. But essentially, it's just flush with the top of the coupe case, which means you can always use any add-ons that you were using for your Pi before, and you won't have any problems with them, which is definitely handy. But you do want to be careful with heat sinks because obviously they're generally made of aluminium, this class of them, and they are conductive, so you want to make sure you don't short anything out on a heat sink.
Yep. So scaling current frequency, I think we've tried that and it doesn't actually report the true frequency.
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to ask video core for the temperature.
For the temperature or for that specific megahertz.
Rory Global Activities says, I like the idea of faster and better Pis, but are Raspberry Pi trying to be Apple and bring out a new unit every 6 months? I don't think so. I think they're keen to... Do you want to bring back the normal camera, Paul? I'm stuck on still frame for ages. Yeah, I think they're just... I don't think they're even particularly trying to compete, They're just doing what they can do at any given time. And if they can cram more features on for the same price, it's not like... They haven't really expanded the range. This replaces the Pi 2, It's the natural successor. It continues the line. Zero was a bit of a surprise to everyone. But no, I don't think they're pushing particularly harder than they were before. It's just when the commercials make sense, there's no reason not to, really.
Well, if you want to change the world,
And there are good reasons to go 64-bit. A lot of things, a lot of stuff benefits from it, especially guided SIMD stuff, maths processing. It's good performance improvements, and for the same price, you can't really complain. So there you go.
Right. So it's one of these.
We're so over this now, Paul. No one cares anymore.
I
Sorry, I'm still slightly ill, which is great.
So we're almost up to 80 degrees there.
Yeah, still running, still churning away.
Yeah.
Is it on 76? It does definitely feel toasty now.
Right.
But for this is a ridiculous experiment. There are very, very few activities that a Pi would be a sensible choice for that would have this kind of load on it. It's not.
Yeah, still.
It's not what the Pi's for, really, is it? If you want processing power per watt, which is like your normal measure of efficiency of value of processing power, you wouldn't be using a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Because Core i7s or whatever will give you way more bang for the kind of power consumption, or it just doesn't make sense for that kind of thing.
But if you really must, then.
But if you must, heat sinks are there. They're
should we just take
never
the
a
heat
bad
sink
thing.
off?
What, off this Pi?
Yeah, it's a bold choice, but it's hot, by the way, John. So watch out.
It is a little toasty.
Yeah, you can remove fingerprints this way. So if you needed a handy fingerprint remover because you wanted to change your identity, then
well, there we are, 90 degrees. So that's, obviously the heatsink is providing more surface area and more thermal mass for the heat to escape from the processor. So this will start throttling now pretty quickly. But it's not dangerous to the system. It's just a way for it to control the thermal profile while it's running.
Well, they're used to being choked inside mobile phones, aren't they, these chips?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you start X, can we see if we can get the yellow circle? Yellow square. I keep saying yellow circle.
Let's kill that. Let's have a look. Kirby's just said he can't wait for an A+ with the Pi 3 chip. And actually, Eben revealed that in the blog post that there would be a Model A coming
but
with
no
the new
dates or
chip.
anything.
There's no information about when it's coming, but just the fact it's coming is quite exciting. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, will you see this on? Yeah, you will see this on HDMI capture. You should do.
You should do, yeah. Quite why it's not there, I don't know.
But I've got to admit, I'm very excited about seeing an improvement to the A kind of board, because
if it had the Wi-Fi on,
that would be awesome. But it's quite ignored just because it's not as powerful. It came out. It's just when the 2 was there, and it's kind of.
It is the friction of setting it up, because you have the one USB port.
Yeah.
You don't have the Ethernet, so you need to use a serial console or some of the gubbins. So you can't do.
Having said that,
internet.
we've now got the USB Ethernet, the OTG Ethernet adapters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
which
but
should
then you
work
need to
fine
have
with the
one
A+.
of those.
Yeah, but only for
So-
setup,
Yeah,
which is kind of reasonable. It's
it's just
not
more
like-
friction, isn't it? Though.
It is more
Yeah.
friction. It is.
So that's gone down to 0. Run it again, John. Run more. More pies. More
Is it
more
still
primes. You see the CPU bars kind of dropped down to 0 there.
Right. I don't. Where did I put it? There we go. No. Yeah.
There you go. So 500 seconds to run that.
We're off. Okay, we're maxed out. Super.
Yeah, we'll see if that gets up to temperature anytime soon now without the heatsink.
We're going to leave that running.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of kind of excitement over this heat thing, but it's built to work within the parameters they designed it to work in. So there's no real problem here. Most people won't even see it get particularly toasty. A little bit warmer than a Pi 2, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. If you're pushing it, you might want to put a heat sink on there, and if you want to put a heat sink on there and still use hats, then 6mm is your maximum height. Any higher than that, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. Well, some hats are okay, but if you want something that's stone cold,
Well,
going to work,
even a 7.5mm heat sink with a hat that has no undermounted components is a problem.
yeah.
Yeah, because it makes unicorn hat, it makes it ride up slightly. Unless if they're on extended headers, maybe. But
No, I think unicorn hat was fine on 7.5, but kind of anything taller than that, it was definitely
we can prove it right
prove
now.
it right now.
See, just rides up.
Ooh, wow.
It's only a tiny bit.
Yeah.
They're just colliding at that stage, so it's.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
very small, but literally 6mm is really the tallest you can go,
Mm-hmm.
and still have anything
I
reasonable.
should have known that actually, because we measured this when we made the coupe kind of 5 layers instead of 6.
Yeah, when we took it a layer down.
Yeah, took it down a
specifically for
layer
hats.
because some hats were kind of going. Yoop. Yeah. Yeah, so that's good.
That is good.
Other people have asked questions like, we stock the Anides case, which is big block of aluminium. And one of the things is now we don't have a sprung port. You now have a nice flush SD card you can't get out. But despite all this aluminium, it seems to work really well with the Wi-Fi. In fact, Phil tested it and he actually got an improved signal with the Wi-Fi.
Which doesn't really prove anything, because Wi-Fi is a funny old beast. It bounces
Yeah.
in weird and wonderful ways, and
But
unless you can get a really
yeah.
repeatable setup, it's very hard to say much. But I think it shows that it's unlikely to be affecting it particularly, in a
Yeah.
particularly bad way.
It got a connection.
Clearly,
yeah.
it gets through the lid well enough, and yeah.
Yeah, the Pi though,
Surprising.
there was not a jot of difference.
No.
Sandy did it in his article, his blog article. Yeah.
Definitely.
Urgh.
It's just toasting away here at 90 degrees. Seems fine.
Yeah.
Another thing to point out while we have some hats out here is that we've modified our Explorer Hat Pro slightly. So it's kind of a version 1.1. It's not really it's not a new product, but where's the camera? It's down there. Okay, so on the old Explorer Hat we had these little surface mount LEDs on the front side, and all we've done really is change it so that they're now undermounted with these kind of windows through, which basically helps us assemble it a little more easily.
Yep.
But it's quite a nice effect as well, because it means the cap touch, there isn't like that LED bump in front of it. So it's like perfectly smooth on the top. So all Explorer Hat Pros that are going out now are the new style. We only swapped over a few days ago. But yeah, it's nice to do little revisions on things. And
A little bit of engineering.
yeah. The other thing to do with hats at the moment is that we have the Black Hat Hacker Mini, which is now going off to production. This is a prototype piece.
/ approved.
But yeah, basically this is going to production now, and it is going to come either fully assembled, so no more soldering those 40, 80, 120 points yourself, or you can buy it bare PCB. So if you wanted to use different styles of headers, like female header, shrouded header, right-angled headers, whatever, you could choose to buy separate headers and put them in. But this will be dead handy. The other thing that's quite nice is now that we've got the new fat format, we've designed it so that the back rail is perfectly spaced, so you can just fit a fat on the back end and then another hat or fat on the front. Or you can use those for kind of pro pins or whatever, like we used to set it up here.
We don't have a fat around, do we?
I don't think we've got any kicking around in here actually.
No.
But
That's a shame.
yeah, we'll have nice photos on the product page that show all the configurations, but no, it's going to be dead handy. And the fact it comes pre-soldered is going to be, I think, popular. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be cool. Give it up. We're so done with Pi 3 heat. You know, it's an interesting subject, and it is, you know, it's different to the Pi 2 quite dramatically, but I don't think it's not groundbreaking. You know, just is what it is.
I just want to see it because it's I think the thing is you're more likely to try the overclocking and try and see what the differences are and go beyond the design envelope with this than you are with your old PC, because that used to be scary.
Yeah, well, I've seen reports of people overclocking Pi 3s to 1.5 gigahertz already, which is frankly terrifying. Not consistently. So I heard of someone who had 3 Pi 3s. They could get one of them to run at 1.5 gigahertz stably.
Yeah.
The other 2 they couldn't, but I think they got all of them running at least kind of 1400. So
yeah, I think they're
gonna be
stress tested around that mark,
Mm-hmm.
so just under the 1.4 mark. There is some over voltage there. You could, if you run it all the time at that frequency, you could reduce its lifespan a bit.
Oh, you almost certainly will, yeah.
They're ridiculously over-engineered anyway, so reducing it from 20 years to 15 years.
Kirby is
not
asking
that bad.
how many Pi 3s shipped this week compared to when the Zero came out. Well, I can tell you now that when the Zero came out, no Pi 3 shipped at all. So quite a lot more. I don't know. I don't know how everyone else has done. I heard talk that they had hundreds of thousands for launch, and I know that the supply chain is getting a little constrained now because we're having to make sure we can have them allocated ready for us so that we don't run out of stock, basically.
Yeah.
Which, if it was easy, then we wouldn't bother doing that. We'd just buy them as and when we need them, like we did with Pi 2 towards the end of last year, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So certainly, they must have. I'd be amazed if they hadn't sold 200,000.
I think they had 250,000 go
Right.
through this week at least,
It
possibly
would not
more.
surprise me at all.
Yeah, and it's mainly how quickly they can flush them through the channels, really. I know the smaller retailers have been working our buns off to get them out the door. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Oh yes.
I think we're almost through Monday's orders and into Tuesday. Monday was the killer because Monday was the majority of the orders.
Yeah, we had, something like 3,000 plus orders on Monday, which is a lot of orders for a single day for 3 people.
Yeah.
We did help them out a little bit, but it's a lot to deal with. So
Yeah.
we are catching up, which is good.
Yeah. I'm just going to fiddle with this. So what else new have we got, John?
We have, the other exciting news is not even remotely Pi related. That is that we now finally have the Genuino starter kit. And also the Genuino Micro. So these were the last 2 kind of, since Arduino became Genuino. These are the last 2 SKUs that we were waiting on. So it's nice to finally have them. We got the Genuino Micro, which is just a really nice little tiny prototyping board. There we go. Really nice for breadboarding, kind of little compact format board. I think it's 32 Mega 32U4. Yeah, it's 32U4, so it's essentially like a mini Leonardo. I don't actually use many of these because I tend to use Leonardo for most of the kind of prototyping or test stuff we do here. But yeah, they're really nice. And obviously it plugs straight into a breadboard because it's all 0.1 inch pitch pins on the back, so it's a nice little choice. Great for building into projects.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, for wearable stuff, I think we'd now recommend the Feather because of the LiPo power supply.
Yeah, Adafruit
is-
have just done so much work on the Feather, and
Yeah.
it's coming good, and they're looking after it. They've got all these form factors. The sensible baseboards are the thing as well,
Mm-hmm.
where they've just got sensible options for kind of logging, Cortex M0,
Yeah.
or
Bluetooth.
Yeah, Bluetooth, phoner even. They've even got
Yeah,
the
they've
cellular
got
one.
the cellular stuff,
Which
which
is-
is
yeah.
crazy. But that doesn't mean, there's still a place for the Genuino Micro, and it's a nice little board.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
Mm.
But more excitingly is the Genuino starter kit, because I've always loved the Arduino starter kit. It's one of the nicest ones that's out there. It's kind of full on. I don't think it's necessarily beginner, but if you take you through the journey of
Just a
getting
little bit
started with
hand-holding.
microcontrollers.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely kit. It's got loads of stuff in it. It's really nicely packaged, so it's a great gift kind of thing. You got a knife on you, Paul? You got a blade?
That's not a knife. There we go. I've got my Leatherman covered in paint because I've been painting my new rooms. So it's got builder's crud all over it.
That's how it's
Painter's
meant to be,
crud.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's your credentials right there. Oh, look at that. Open source is love.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. I haven't even opened one of these yet. They arrived today. Obviously, I've seen the Arduino starter kit, which I believe this is essentially the same as, but the packaging and artwork has changed, which is really cute.
I'm just going to stick that over me so you can have a...
These out of the way. I really shouldn't rustle things across the table, should I? Terrible for the audio.
It's not so bad because it's low frequency.
There we go. So you got a lovely book. Oh, that's a really nice print, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of different projects and things to build in there. It's got kind of nice textured cover. And then underneath, you get all your bits. And this is the bit that always makes me kind of squee about the Arduino starter kit. Was these little boxes with everything in.
It's just the silk laminate finish on it for me.
Yeah.
I do like a good silk laminate.
It's a little over the top, but it's quality over the top.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Well, the last one used to be more of a storage thing, didn't it? The last starter kit.
I think it was pretty much exactly like this. It was a lot of little boxes all kind of stacked inside on big box. We'll have to go and find one. We got one in our room, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was sure it was similar to that.
They had the wooden breadboard mount and all that, didn't they?
They did have a wooden breadboard mount. I haven't got to the kit bits at the bottom yet. But basically you get things like basic components. You get jumper leads, you get a Genuino Uno, breadboard, you get DC motor, you get servo. Oh, I'm so terrible at lining up this camera. DC motor, you get servo. This little components tray.
Stuff with Kirby says, "Ooh, a nice book and not a sheet of paper with a PDF link." Quite.
No, it's not. Well, to be fair, this kit is not cheap, but you know it doesn't feel cheap either. You know, It feels like a good quality kit.
They've had years to develop this.
There you go. This little.
Hey, there it is.
I'm sure this is like balsa wood. It's really
bamboo
light
or something.
But you pop some of these bits out. I don't want to break it. Yeah, these are like armatures for the motor and stuff, so the actuators and things like that. Because when you build the project, you build like a spinning wheel style thing, and you've got little stand legs in here. It's quite nice. Their kiss cut on the laser cutting is quite sweet.
Yeah, it works really well with wood. The tolerances are a lot tighter, so you can do inserts like that a lot more easily.
But it means you get these little feet that you can push in, which is kind of sweet. And that just gives you a little base on which you can mount your breadboard and the Uno. A little project base. There we go. Beautiful.
Yep.
And you got a USB cable. Oh, they put little faces on it. That's cute. And I think it's just going to be like an HD 44780 style display. Yeah.
Old school.
Can't fault that. But no, that's really nice. This will be a great item around Christmas, I suspect.
Yep.
Or just, for Mother's Day.
I'm seeing whether it's...
I don't know. I'll have to try that out on my mum.
Actually, no, I think for Mother's Day, Oh, yeah, this says from the Arduino founders. Massimo Banzi, D. Quartiles, Tom Igo, and D. Mellis.
That means we can't ship this to Italy.
We can't ship this to Italy at the moment.
Which is kind of ironic, isn't it? But apparently they're changing the packaging so it doesn't say that particular phrase.
Yeah, if it says Arduino in it anywhere, because the bad Arduino have got the trademark in Italy at the moment, there's been an injunction, so we can't ship anything that says Arduino from Genuino, original Arduino guys to Italy, and it's all just...
Anyway.
Meanwhile, Adafruit are doing really well with their feather.
Yes, they are, aren't they?
Strange that.
And no one's fighting.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But yeah, Genuino starter kit. I'm really glad we got this at last. It's taken months to get hold of these.
How much is it?
I think it's £75, but don't quote me on that.
£75.
I think so.
You really feel the value in there.
You do, and the book is great. I mean, there's a thick book. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's a really nice quality print, and you get the Uno included as well. So you've got like the baseboard and all the projecty stuff to build around.
How's the silk on the Uno these days?
I think it's still pretty good actually. I'm very interested to know where these are made now, because before they were obviously made by Smart Projects.
Yep.
But it's possible the PCBs weren't actually produced there. They may have been outsourced anyway.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anything on here?
Yeah, it's still a very good silk. They've changed the colour though. They have noticeably changed it, and I don't know if that was again to do with kind of trademark and design rights or whatever of the Arduino brand.
That's almost sea green.
Yeah, they've all changed the whole range.
Crisp silk.
Lovely silk. Almost as good as one of ours.
Made in China.
Ah, made by Seed. Then that one.
Right.
Seed are their manufacturing partner over there.
Shiny.
We love Seed. Seed are awesome.
Yeah. I think our silks are about as crisp as this now, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Sweet. But yeah, it feels... Yeah, there's something good about that.
There
They've
it is.
gone to board prints as well. They're not printing on the ports, are they? No, they are. Hey! We need
This
to
is a
steal
new
that.
thing with the Arduinos, is that they actually print the port labels on the side of the headers.
I think Chip have done that
Which
as
is
well,
really
which
cute.
is quite nice.
Is it a label applied or is it actually silked on? It's silked on.
Yeah.
It says, isn't it? Yeah, that's really nice. Really nice. We've got to get us some of that, man. These kind of things are the touches that are really hard to get right and cost a lot to set up generally. Like, I'm sure it doesn't add a huge amount to the cost of each board, but just getting to the stage where you can even do it.
I wonder if they're
That's the
using...
expense.
I mean, yeah, finding somebody in China who's got kind of the acrylic printing. Because I think they're using similar stuff to what they use on mobile phones, maybe.
Oh, actually, yeah, you can see. It looks.
see the
it's almost like
inkjetting?
it's almost like a transfer because there's a shadow around the text in black. So it's almost like a little, almost like those
No.
fake tattoos you used to get.
No, I think that is normally the clear layer they put over it to
Oh,
protect it
like
a bit.
a lacquer style
Yeah.
thing or whatever.
Maybe.
Okay.
But maybe it's just...
So essentially, screen on the white, then screen on some sort of protective
yeah.
coating.
So if this is using the mobile phone type stuff, then yeah, you're talking kind of $4,000 plus for one of those printers.
But
That's
for,
so the toy I
for
want.
something like this, that's got to be so bulk that there's no way
If
you're
they're
going to be
doing
using a
$100,000
$4,000 piece of equipment, are they?
Nah, maybe they got the professional version, which is like the $100,000 printer.
Mm.
Yeah. Weird. So what else have we got to show?
That was it. That was Genuino, and have a quick
I finally
look
found
at
the
the
command.
Pi 3 thermal. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
So that's currently running. Okay.
So it shows it's running at 6 megahertz. Let's zoom that in a bit.
Where's the function key gone? I'm on the wrong keyboard. That's the wrong keyboard. Hold on a sec. So that's the stress test. Let's get that. There we go. So the stress test. It was running at
there we
600 megahertz because there was no load at all. So
Yeah.
it just clocked back just to save power. It was basically idling. So we've now run the stress test. It's back up to 1.2 gigahertz. Nicely.
Let's reset.
And
Yeah.
we should be able to monitor the core temperature still.
Let me just... Is that in the history now?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Was it on that one?
No. Oh, you can run it anyway. It says sudo vcgen command. And it was measure underscore clock space arm. And then just put a watch on it. So this is going to run this command every 2 seconds and show us the output.
Oh no, that's frequency.
Sorry, that's frequency, yeah. So you see there, it's down to just under 11 megahertz already. So that's throttling.
Yeah.
As we speak, before our very eyes. And do you want to show the thermal camera again? Among all the junk.
Ba-da-ba.
No, let me see it on the camcorder.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh wow, you just made that problem twice as hard.
There you go, you're pretty much there. So there we go, there's it running full beans. So, hey, let's do it so you can see that at home, kids.
Brilliant.
And there, if you can see that, it's really tiny. I've got to change that. There we go.
It's like Mikey on Monsters Inc.
So that's running under 10 megahertz at the moment because we thrashed.
Yeah, it's running just under 1 gigahertz, isn't it?
1 gigahertz, right? Sorry, 10 gigahertz. That'll definitely throttle it.
But you can see, I mean, it scales quite smoothly. It's not like
Yeah.
it jumps 100 megahertz at a time or anything. It just keeps ramping up and down.
And this is running the command every 2 seconds. If we ran it more
Mhm.
finely, we could graph it a lot better. So yeah, that shows that when it reaches the upper temperature, it just governs quite happily.
Julian Nichols
That's-
is saying that the Genuino kit is too expensive. when a knockoff from China is £2. The difference is that the knockoff from China basically just downloads production data that was generated by, good engineers, rams it through the cheapest possible process, and then ships it with subsidised shipping from China. It's not even comparable. Arduino, is not just a piece of hardware. It's all of the effort that goes into the ecosystem, the software libraries, the design of the hardware, kind of the support of the hardware, and everything to do with what Arduino stands for.
Yep.
People are more than welcome to buy knockoffs from China, but you should never pretend it's the same as an Arduino. That's a personal choice, but it's not the same thing.
There is a knock-on effect of doing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because less money goes into the Arduino ecosystem to let them develop Arduino.
Right. So that's running at 9 megahertz. Let's put the heatsink back on.
You're testing me, Paul. You're testing me. Right, okay. I'm going to put this one on.
900 megahertz. That's it. Yeah. That looks like our stock one.
This is the new one. This is the skinny one.
It's got so many fins, so more surface area.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Let's just stuck it to the case. Did that help?
No.
Okay, let's try again.
See, that suddenly jumped straight back up to 1.2 pretty much.
That's because you've added thermal mass, which is immediately soaked up.
I think it's just stopped. Yeah. I think we've just frozen the pie by hitting something wrong there.
No, it's still running.
Really?
Fine.
That's just.
Yeah. I think it's just stopped.
Wow. Okay.
So if I can break out of that and run it again.
Okay.
It will warm up, and ultimately that will likely get to the same situation. It's just that the heatsink is giving you more headroom, basically.
But they saw no heatsink. It was running around 900 megahertz, 1 gigahertz. Put the heatsink on, suddenly it's back up to 1.2, and we've now got some headroom until that catches up before it'll start governing the frequency down again.
Yeah.
That's the system you're running.
That is absolutely. Julian's saying again that he doesn't think you should cut Arduino or Genuino out of the picture, which is very reasonable, but he doesn't feel that this kit is worth £75.
You make a choice,
you make a choice. There are other kits that have similar stuff in that are cheaper, but Arduino do care about the branding. They care about the kind of the look and the feel of it. And I think if you take... where's the box gone?
Yeah.
If you put that on a shelf and, some kid pesters their parents to get it for them because it looks exciting and fun and kind of approachable, then I don't think that's actually a bad thing. It could just be a load of bits in a bag sat in a corner with a handwritten label that says 30 quid or something. Fine, but I think there's a space for something branded and finished as well as this. There's also a space for something that's much cheaper and,
And if you look now,
there's not only one option here. It's fine.
It's down to just under 1.1 gigahertz now.
Oh, there you go, yeah. So this is basically the heatsink itself is now warming up, which ultimately is going to happen.
Yeah, and the heatsink's about 80 degrees, so that's really good. It's really quite special because you now put your finger on that without removing the fingerprints, probably.
Tom Kirby Green is asking, did we cover the Piborg Kickstarter? And we totally forgot to, but I did hear about this morning. They've got a robotics board coming out for Pi Zero specifically.
Yep.
Should we see if we can bring it up?
Yeah, let's search the internet.
Piborg Kickstarter. Yeah, I don't know why we didn't think of mentioning this today, actually, because we do like a good Kickstarter.
We do like Piborg as well.
Yeah, we do like Piborg.
Lovely big.
There we go. So this is basically like a robotics platform. I haven't read much about this, so we can't really talk with any authority, but I did hear it mentioned this morning.
Yep.
It's some sort of robotics-y style driver board add-on for the Raspberry Pi Zero.
Mm-hmm. It's too big.
It is too big.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's got the screw terminals.
Yeah.
It's too big.
It's too big.
But they've passed their goal already.
Yeah, they already passed it. It's good, modest goal as well, so
yeah.
It's nice.
I see what they're doing. They're undermounting this so that you can double up the pins maybe, or use the remaining pins.
Yeah. Actually, that's quite a nice approach, isn't it? Because then you could grab like a 40-way header, knock off the first 6 pins.
Yeah.
Because this is obviously
just
an I2C motor driver, because they're only using the I2C lines. Snip off the end, and then that's actually quite nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I could see that as a good solution for a few things.
So they're already past their goal. Let's put them way over the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're really nice guys. Piborg do, from what we see, some of the best kind of buggy robotics-y stuff for the Raspberry Pi.
They're pretty much
some
focused.
Pretty meaty stuff as well.
They're fairly focused on it. So
Yeah.
they've got an insane 55 amp motor driver, which we've got downstairs, and we're waiting until we feel we're competent enough to attach wheelchair motors to it. and then I need not walk around the workshop anymore.
Well, no, absolutely.
I'm just going to have my motorised lazy boy, and that's it. Yeah. Regarding the China shipping, were you telling me this, or was somebody else telling me this, that at the moment China gets these really insanely low rates?
The
for
government.
international shipping?
Well, there's two things at play here. One is that there's something called I can't remember the
Universal
exact.
Postal Union.
That's something like that. It's the
Yeah.
UPU, I think, and that basically is a system whereby countries will accept shipments from other countries. So, like China can walk up to the US and say, "Here's a load of parcels that need delivering to US destinations,"
Yep.
and USPS will take those parcels and deliver them for a fixed rate. So it's always going to be like $1 a parcel, or whatever it happens to be under this agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, China, developing countries get better prices. So under this agreement, so China gets a really competitive rate to ship into Western
Everywhere.
countries, as it were, pretty much everywhere that buys stuff from China.
Yeah.
But on top of that, because that rate's so competitive, the Chinese government then also subsidises it. So that's why you can buy a 7-cent heatsink shipped free
Yeah.
from China. It'll take 6 weeks to arrive, but the person who shipped it basically paid nothing to ship it, and they still make that tiny little skinny margin on it or whatever.
Yep.
But I believe there is going to be a re-evaluation of the UPU rates this year, which may well change the situation with China specifically, because a lot of countries are getting quite annoyed by the volume of stuff coming from China and the fact that they're then having to deal with it essentially at a loss, because you can't. USPS can't pick something up for $1 and then ship it to the middle of Utah or something. It just doesn't make sense.
It's that weird, insane thing where US companies shipping US parcels to places in the US were paying more than Chinese companies shipping stuff to the US.
Yeah. Like pretty much every time.
What the heck?
That's the whole point, isn't it? That's the thing. That's the thing about the UPU. The whole thing with the UPU, I think, was to allow developing countries reasonable rates to ship into.
Which it has done. It's done that.
Oh yeah,
which is great. But now they're being re-evaluated this year, aren't they? And
I believe so.
So you might see a bit of sticker shock on shipping from the China later this year.
I think it's going to be very interesting. It'll depend on whether the Chinese government still wants to subsidise it. So if the rates do go up, they could increase the subsidisation, in which case nothing really changes. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, for us, it doesn't really matter ultimately. But it's always frustrating because people say things like, "Oh, I can get something shipped from China for nothing." And it's like, well, yeah, that would be lovely. We'd like to do that too, but
yeah,
it's different rules basically. We don't play by the
just
same
things
rule
like,
book. So
I hated how there's no manufacturing done in my country anymore, but look at this cheap Arduino I got from China.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but no, I think we're in a good age. I think a lot of makers respect things that are made locally, things that are made with love. So I think we're in a better place than we used to be, say, 10 years ago.
Ah, absolutely.
Because 10 years ago,
agree, yeah.
we just kind of blindly bought whatever was the cheapest,
Mm-hmm.
ending up with kind of places like Poundland, where you can get great deals, but it's...
I hope Les isn't watching.
Yeah, you get some great deals in there, but this is kind of stuff that's not sold from China that's ended up being sold on at a loss.
Yeah.
So they can sell the £1 Bluetooth dongles with... They're interesting to experiment with, but there's often some real problems in there.
Yeah, it's basically junk, right?
Yeah, so
that's the problem.
Don't buy power supplies, probably.
No.
Yes.
Anyway, go back Zeroborg, because they are a local producer. They won't be able to ship for you for less than $1 or something, I suspect, but you should still back them, because it looks interesting anyway. 4 full H bridges, that's nice. 2 amps peak, pretty sweet. Either 4 kind of DC motors or 2-stepper motors, pretty sweet.
Yep, 9-volt power support source.
Yeah, seems fair.
Powers the Pi at 7 volts
it
plus.
adds a couple of analog sensors as well.
Hey.
So in fact, they must be using a microcontroller on here then. Maybe 2 H bridges separately. Yeah, that looks good. Check it out.
Excellent. Right, have we got anything else?
No, let's hide all these overlays and just say goodbye in proper fashion.
Yeah, I can't believe how monochrome we are this week.
Grey and greyer.
Yeah.
That could be our movie.
In fact, yeah. Let's just, yeah.
Are you just going to saturate us?
Yeah, the colour's gone out of our world without Phil here. There we go.
Now we have to
Very
have some
sad.
sad music. Do, 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 do.
Maybe some 1920s kind of slow jazz.
Oh. I think I should be wearing a fedora. Right.
You
and
could see
on that note, I think we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye, folks, and don't forget to like,
subscribe, and comment on this video.
From Budapest.
See
See ya.
Over and out.